Welcome to another episode of Dear Jane. We're very excited to have you join us today. I'm joined by my co-host, Scott Baker. Hi, Scott. How's it going?
Going well. How are you?
I'm good. Excited about the conversation we're going to have in just a little bit. But before we jump into today's conversation, we have a very important message from one of our sponsors. Scott, will you tell us about the Samaritan Summit?
Yes, I'd be happy to. The Samaritan Summit, if you work at a pregnancy center, or if you know someone who does work at a pregnancy center, maybe you know someone who volunteers, maybe somebody who works there, maybe you're on a board of a pregnancy center, you need to check out the Samaritan Summit. You can go to the website, SamaritanSummit.com. There's a conference coming up in September. And you need to check out the Samaritan Summit because they've got all kinds of great resources there. You'll have learning opportunities. You'll have just opportunities for supporting one another, networking opportunities. It's so cool. You want to check it out. It's the only one of its kind in the country, just for pregnancy centers and people who are in that situation. It's such a unique, challenging situation, pregnancy centers. You want to check it out. It's SamaritanSummit.com. Go to the website, if for no other reason, just go to the homepage to watch the mesmerizing beach video they have that I've been just staring at here for the last 5 minutes. It's really cool and peaceful.
I'm going to go check that out afterwards because I am here in strange Colorado where we don't know quite what season we're in currently. So I need a little bit of that.
This video,
Awesome.
I mean, I could just sit here and watch this video for forever.
Well, now we know what you're going to be doing for the rest of the day.
While this conversation's going on, if I get distracted, I'm watching this video at SamaritanSummit.com.
Awesome. Go check it out. It is truly a phenomenal event. You will not regret it. Okay, let's get started. We are very excited for the conversation coming up today. We are joined by Emily Berning. Emily, you helped start the organization Let Them Live, and I'm excited for you to tell us a little bit about that. But I want to start with kind of where you guys started. You and your husband met a lady who was facing an unplanned pregnancy. I believe she had an abortion appointment already scheduled or was feeling like that was her only option. And your interaction with her and what you decided to do next kind of changed all of that. Can you tell us more of that story and how you got started with Let Them Live?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. And I can't say that I am looking at a beach on the screen, but I've got it down the road. So, happy to, maybe after this, I'll head over there. But so excited to chat with you guys and share with you about Let Them Live and this crazy story about how we got started. I mean, I feel like sometimes the best things and just kind of happen and you just don't expect it. So a couple months after Nathan and I had gotten married, he was up late, as he usually is, on Facebook in a pro-life group, and there was a woman saying, "Hey, my cousin has an abortion scheduled, can anyone give me some advice?" And he actually decided to just reach out to her directly and discovered that she was living in her car. She lost her job. She was, like deep in rent that hasn't been paid. She was evicted. I mean, it was just horrible. It was freezing weather, living in her car. I mean, once Nathan found this out, it just did not sit well with him. And we didn't have a whole lot of money. We actually had just deposited some checks from our wedding. So it was like the first time we felt like we could actually, be adults and like pay our bills or whatnot. And she needed some money to get back into her apartment, and that's what we had in our bank account. So my husband just nudges me awake, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to save a life from abortion?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, but how? How do we do that?" And he's like, "Well, there's this mom. We've got this money. Let's do it." So we emptied our bank account, and one thing turned into another. I mean, she canceled her abortion, got back into her apartment, and sent us an ultrasound of her sweet baby. And it was just that moment that hit us that there's got to be other women experiencing something very similar to this. And Nathan and I were at that point out of money. So, we had to fundraise. So that's kind of how Let Them Live came to be.
How'd that make you feel, that first life?
It's like, it was so crazy, and I wish I had written it down so that I could kind of reference exactly how I was feeling in the moment. But I remember just there was fear for sure. I think my faith has grown a lot in the last 5 years since Let Them Live has existed for sure. But it was also just there was a comfort of knowing that yes, we would probably be living pretty uncomfortably. I mean, at this time, we were also living in like a fifth wheel travel trailer in the back of Nathan's family's storage business. But like we could live uncomfortably knowing that a life had been saved and a mom had been helped. And so it was really awesome. And I think it was the first time in ever as a pro-life person that I felt like I had actually done something to kind of, stop abortion. And so it felt really amazing. And it was just something where I wanted to share it with everybody else. I wanted everybody in the world who's pro-life to have like a slice of this, to understand what that felt like. And from there, the ball just got rolling. I mean, the last 5 years has been crazy, just such a whirlwind.
I want to get into more about Let Them Live and what you guys are doing now, but I just want to pause for a second because it's crazy to think that obviously that was a huge sacrifice on the part of you and your husband. And sometimes women really do need like immediate financial support, but it's amazing to think that that's kind of all it took. Like that was the barrier between her feeling like she could choose life for her child. How common is that? Because I think a lot of times as pro-lifers, we can almost demonize women sometimes and think it's all just for personal issues of convenience, but that's not really the case. So how common is it that a woman is truly facing situations like that where if someone could come along and help, she would pick a very different outcome?
It's super common. There's a study Guttmacher did years ago, and I feel like honestly the number would probably be higher now, but 73% of women have abortions in the United States because of financial burden, or at least in part due to financial burden. And that can obviously be intersecting with other things like domestic violence and being kind of displaced from safe housing. But it is super common, with the moms that we see at Let Them Live. I'll just say that we don't see moms that, they're coming to us and they're just like, I want to get an abortion. Like you wake up and want to grab a cup of coffee. It's just not the case. There's actually underlying reasons. And abortion is this symptom of some deeper rooted issues. And that's kind of what we're seeking to go after, is what are those deeper rooted issues? And, I mean, it is crazy sometimes how simple it is, and how, just being there to support these moms and giving them, a little encouragement and some bills paid can actually save a life. And I think that's the thing I always love to share with people, is just how easy it is. Easy. I say easy. It's not really easy, but how accessible it is maybe to pro-life people to save lives from abortion.
See, that's a great attitude, because when I started to think about this, I thought of it as wildly daunting. Just because the need has to be so significant. And even just with one mom, I would just think, where do you begin? Do you begin with, well, obviously the situation she might be in at that moment when she contacts you, but a lot of times she's also thinking down the road, right? When the baby comes, right? And all of that, I would just think, oh my goodness, you've got to meet her need. She's concerned about her need now, but she's concerned about her need this time next year too. And it's just, it would be so easy to be overwhelmed. So where do you begin? I mean, how do you even begin the process of helping?
Well, it definitely was overwhelming for me too. I mean, I remember starting Let Them Live, and it was just like I had to remind myself, like, take it a day at a time, even like a minute at a time, because there's so many things happening, and it's just so crazy, and you want to make sure moms get the support they need, and there's so many different aspects to it. But really, it's just meeting her where she's at. And oftentimes, like you had mentioned, they are thinking about the future in the sense that they're going to have a baby, and they know that that comes with responsibility and time and resources and money and all of that. And then they're kind of applying it to their situation now. Where they're at now, they're not going to be able to take care of their child, or feel like they won't be able to when their baby comes. And so it's kind of helping them to kind of piece apart and all the confusion and kind of piece the puzzle together, that there is time. And I think that's the biggest thing with pregnancy counseling, just step by step, like one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, saying, it's okay, we're going to get there. You've got time, right? This baby is not coming out for another, 6 months. And being really calm in kind of a crisis situation, and really for Let Them Live as a whole, that's kind of the same thing as we just had to day by day, share about Let Them Live and get donors and people who wanted to support and just put it out there. And my mantra or adage or whatever we want to call it is, I heard this from a friend, if it's God's will, he'll foot the bill, right? So, knowing that there's all these needs coming to us, we can be rest assured that they're going to be taken care of one way or another. And so sharing that with them, and what we do is we sit down with the moms and we ask them to just tell us everything. And, there's nothing we haven't heard. I mean, we have seen and heard some of the craziest situations. And so there's really no judgment, and it's sitting down and allowing them the opportunity to share about what's going on. And sometimes even that just helps them to have clarity because they haven't been able to talk to someone. And then we work with them on a financial plan, and that kind of gives them a roadmap. So if they have a roadmap, I like to make lists. So if I don't make a list, I'm going to be like so confused. But if I got a list and I got a roadmap for the day, like we can get somewhere. And it's the same thing. So we got that financial plan. It shows what we're going to help with, how long we're going to help with it, everything. It also gives us an opportunity to share with them how we're going to help them aside from paying their bills. So financial coaching. So maybe they need to learn about budgeting and saving and how to get out of debt and that type of thing. We have financial coaching, one-on-one or group settings. We have support groups. We have donors who've given their time, who are professionals like psychologists or therapists that can help kind of untangle some of the deeper rooted issues as well. So really just giving them a roadmap is the best way to do it, I think.
I love that. Roadmaps are so helpful. I'm a list person too. I was going to ask about the donor side of things, but that helps me to kind of understand that map that you lay out before women. How do you pitch that to donors? What are some of the questions they ask? What kind of, is there resistance? Like, do people sometimes see it as like, oh, you're just giving like free handouts? Like, how do you get donors on board with this mission?
Such a good question. And it kind of goes back to when Nathan and I, were the first donors of Let Them Live in a way. And we just kind of thought about how, we approached it or how the situation was presented to us and kind of just copy that. And so sharing the story of one woman who's going through what she's going through and, has an abortion scheduled, and just honestly sharing that is a huge thing because, again, pro-life people want to help. I think that it's just been a barrier where it's like, but what do we do? Like, how does that actually happen? And Let Them Live has kind of provided that. I will say when we first started Let Them Live and first started putting it out there on social media, we got a lot of backlash from like pro-life people. And, looking back, I can see it now. I mean, I think money is kind of a weird thing. I think it makes people act weird. I get it. Nathan and I have always been people though, where, if there's someone on the side of the road, like I'll give them a 20. I don't know necessarily what they're going to do with that. But like, for me, I just know that it's not my money, right? It's God's money. And so basically, we're very transparent. All of our donors have my cell phone number. They can call me directly. Our financial stuff is all published online. Like, donors know that their money is going to help these moms because we do vetting of our moms. We partner with pregnancy centers to do that as well, so they can get ultrasounds, and we're paying the bills directly to where they're due. So the donors do know that they can trust us. And just over the course of a few years and almost 1,000 lives saved, that's kind of our proof of it's actually working. But of course, there's always going to be questions. That's why over the time that we've been existing, we love feedback from donors. We get feedback from our moms because we always want to be better. And that's why we have some of the programs now that we have that we didn't have before, like our financial coaching, just to kind of make sure these moms are set up for real success for the future so that they don't, find themselves, if they do find themselves in another situation where they're pregnant, right? Abortion's not even going to be on the table, but hopefully educating them as well about like natural family planning so they don't find themselves in that situation. And so it's not necessarily just throwing money at the problem anymore. I would say we definitely did that when we first started because we didn't really have an understanding of how to create a really robust program, but definitely have evolved. We're in like Let Them Live 9.0 or something.
So pro-lifers were getting on you just because you were throwing cash at the issue, or what were they saying?
Yeah, people were saying that it was a scam. And again, I think it's just because this was a pretty novel idea for the pro-life movement. And we just kind of came out and were like, let's do this, let's raise money. And I think typically things have been done through pregnancy centers or, we kind of just busted out of that status quo. And I think it maybe scared people. I'm not really totally sure, but there was definitely concerns of that. Maybe that these moms were scamming us or things like that. But over time, we just basically had to prove ourselves. And we did.
Yeah.
We had to just show that, like, no, this is for real.
You know what I love, and I don't know if this would help with donors or not, but what I love is one of the biggest, and you mentioned this earlier, one of the biggest criticism we receive as a movement is that we only care about the baby. And that is it. We do not care about the mothers. And Let Them Live flies in the face of that. I mean, it totally is the number one pushback to that.
Yep.
And so I mean, to me, Let Them Live is exhibit A against that argument.
Yeah,
So
I hear that a lot. A lot of pro-life people are very grateful that Let Them Live exists simply because if they're being, kind of attacked and saying, well, pro-lifers don't care, they can say, well, here's Let Them Live. And it's so true. A mom that we helped years ago, her son just turned 4 in December. I just had a call with her for like an hour. I mean, we talk all the time. I check in on how she's doing. I mean, another one of our moms, I mean, we're friends, we're sisters, we still help her whenever she needs it. Like we're there for these moms years and years after, and it's awesome. It fills me up, I know that it fills our counselors up, and it's beautiful to have this deep connection with people that we wouldn't have otherwise known.
That is so
how
cool.
do you how do we make this multiply? I mean, where are you? Let's talk about first, where are you geographically right now?
Mhm. So currently, my husband and I live in Florida, but we actually have 50 staff members that we pay, which is
Wow.
amazing. God has been so good,
Yeah.
but everyone lives everywhere. So we're like a remote digital organization. And again, that's kind of into our partnerships. Where moms have that in-person support, but Let Them Live has been growing a lot. Where if we help a mom, over in California, there's someone on our team, whether it's a donor, a volunteer, or a staff member, that's going to be there to help them. And so we are kind of a digital organization. We don't have like a brick and mortar, typical what you would think pregnancy center style. But we've been pretty effective doing it digitally. It's kind of crazy, but putting ourselves out there on social media has been really big, and we've grown a whole lot on social media, and that's where a lot of moms and donors, have found us. And I would love to clone this. I'll say it again and again. I am all for partnership. I am all for the pro-life movement. It's not about Let Them Live. It's not about Emily or Nathan. Like it is literally about the mission of helping these moms and saving these lives. And so we've given time to help other organizations kind of copy and paste what we've been doing because we've seen success. But I'd love to be cloned. I mean, I would be so down for that. My to-do list is too long, but it's just helping other people and being open to partnerships and, having an abundance mindset, I think, within this movement. And that's going to be important for, continuing to make it bigger. So.
What would you say to someone who like maybe wants to be involved in pro-life, but isn't sure how to get started, or maybe is afraid? Like you and your husband took a pretty significant leap of faith with that first mom and then getting Let Them Live kind of up and off the ground. And it's amazing how much you guys have grown. What encouragement would you have for someone who knows that they want to be more involved, but they're just not sure how to take that first step?
My encouragement would be, to just do it. And I know that that's kind of a silly answer, but really it's something that you'll just never regret. And clearly, if you can tell when God has put something on your heart to do. And so taking that first step, and I mean, there's so many amazing organizations, whether that's your local pregnancy center or, another national organization, Save the Storks, you've got, Live Action, whatever it is, take that step. But what I really love about Let Them Live is, like I mentioned, we're a digital organization. So you can start volunteering. Like you can be sitting on your couch volunteering and actually helping to make a difference. Whether that's all of our new donors, they get handwritten thank you cards. That's a really important part of us maintaining and building that relationship with them. And so we have people that help us write thank you cards. I used to write them myself, and then it got to be like hundreds and my hand was cramped, but that's something you can do from your home. And so taking that step maybe isn't as scary as it used to be, because you don't have to physically go to a place if you don't want to. I mean, sometimes I'm an introvert and I don't want to talk to anybody. So we have opportunities, volunteer, intern opportunities for situations like that. If you're a people person and you think you could be a great counselor, like we have counseling, but really everything can be done from the comfort of your own home. And I mean, looking at these babies, these babies on our wall, we have a whole other wall over here, but they're just my encouragement every day. And so whenever I see them, that's kind of my, like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this again today. And so any encouragement for people that want to get involved but don't know how or are nervous is just to reach out to us. It's really fun. It's amazing. And the fruit of our labor is just, yeah, there's no words.
Here's a hard question. Maybe it's a stupid question, but it wouldn't be my first. Have you ever had someone come to you and say, "Oh, I need help," and you said, "No, you don't."
No, it's not a stupid question. We've definitely had that situation where kind of maybe not that exact, but basically we have had people come who through our vetting system have been vetted out simply because either they're scamming or they're not pregnant, or really it's just they're thinking they're about to get a wad of cash or like a check written to them. But when they hear that the program is really us paying the bills directly and it's more of a structured situation, it becomes obvious that they don't really want help. So that has happened. I mean, that's just bound to happen when you're reaching so many people and doing the type of work that we're doing. A lot of people are thinking, oh great, easy money, but it's just not the case.
So I shouldn't send in my application then, is what you're saying.
You will probably get denied pretty quickly.
Right. So you deal with a lot of abortion-minded women. Let's talk in general about abortion-minded women. What's one thing that a lot of people get wrong? What's a big misunderstanding that people have about abortion-minded women that we may not think about?
I think the biggest thing that people get wrong about women, abortion-minded women, women considering abortion, is that that's something that they want to do, and that they are fully aware of what it entails. I think just in my experience, women feel like they're backed into a corner, like they have no option. They've been given no other choice. And whether that is a product of their circumstances or larger, a product of our society and our culture being so abortion forward, like that is the solution. These women really don't feel like they have a lot of options. And I think it's easy for pro-lifers to say, well, you do have options, right? Well, we know that. But a lot of women who are experiencing these pregnancies and feeling they're in crisis, they may not be in communities where there's support or they know about the support. They're going to Planned Parenthood. And now I will say there have been a couple times that Planned Parenthood has referred moms to us, but that's not the norm. And so a lot of these women are going to Planned Parenthood. They're not being told about the resources they have. They're not being told that they have time to think and consider what, it would look like to be a mom, to parent their child. They're not being told what's actually happening in an abortion. I mean, so many times we have had women that have decided to not accept our help and then go have an abortion. And then afterwards they're broken and they're telling us that they were lied to. And it's just so heartbreaking. And so I think the broader pro-life movement just has to continue to show love and compassion to meet these women where they're at. the whole point of serving and meeting people where they're at is to understand what they're going through, to kind of walk in their shoes. A woman is not going to automatically view things the way I view things about abortion. So we got to kind of take it low and slow. But I think that we just have to continue to see that as long as we're there to support, it's going to make a huge difference. But women, the majority of women are not, again, like I mentioned, looking for an abortion, like they're looking to grab some coffee in the morning. It's truly heartbreaking. And so if we can continue to show that compassion, it's going to make a huge difference. A lot of times too, on our social media, when we put a fundraiser out, I get some just very helpful comments. She should have kept her legs closed, and I'm thinking, thank you so much, Dale. That's going to help a lot. It's already done. Okay. The baby's already here. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I mean, like, it's just not helpful, and so what's really helpful is for us to just identify those needs, and not waste our time, writing comments that are just entirely unhelpful.
I've seen my fair share of those. I love the way one person said it one time. They said that a woman wants abortion in the same way that a trapped animal wants to gnaw off its leg. It's not that they want to be, one leg shorter. It's that they want to get out of that trap and that trapped feeling. And so just that desperation and not seeing another way out, I think, is a piece that the broader pro-life movement sometimes misses. And I get it, because they have this righteous anger about abortion. But until we can fully understand why women are considering abortion, I don't think we're going to land on the right solution. So I love what you guys are doing and how you're tackling the issue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's changed my mind too so much. I mean, the way I've approached the issue of abortion has changed so much.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you've got pictures behind you. You've got pictures behind you of babies on the wall, and then other ones. And you go to your website; it's pretty cool because you've got all kinds of pictures of babies. And there, I was looking at them. You've got Squire, you've got Henry and Nolan, and all these cool names, all these cool babies. Does one or two stick out for you? Just cool story.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. It's crazy because the babies that Nathan and I personally helped to save when we counseled their moms, obviously those babies have such a special place in my heart, especially, same with our counselors, whichever moms they counsel, those babies have an extra special place in their heart. Kiari is one of those babies. He actually just turned 4. They're not babies anymore. It's so crazy. But he's actually one we were there for when he was born in the hospital room. And so there's so many beautiful babies, but every time I get our weekly update or I see on social media, I'm telling you, I think these Let Them Live babies are just the cutest babies ever to exist. They have the cutest little dimples and smiles. And I mean, it is just absolutely insane. And we don't have kids of our own. Nathan and I don't. And so it just makes it that much more special for us. Our front door is right there. So anyone who walks into our front door, this is what they're seeing, and they're seeing these walls covered, and it's such a great conversation starter. I mean, who couldn't see these babies and just be like, oh my gosh, but I really have so many. This painting here actually that you can see is Ayla. It's a baby. She was almost aborted at 31 weeks, and Nathan and I ended up, we wanted to help keep her out of the foster care system. So Nathan and I took her for a few months when she was about 4 months old, and we were the 4th or 5th family to do that. We had our counseling director also had her for a time, but that was one of the most special times, just loving on this little girl. I mean, we just fell in love with her. So there's just, they're just all amazing. I don't know.
I love how much that it humanizes the issue too. Scott was talking about earlier, the accusations from the other side are that, we don't care about the woman, or, you don't do anything to care about the baby, but then, we do care about the baby once they're born. You guys are living proof of that. Even you've mentioned several different times, these aren't babies anymore. They're 3, 4, 5 years old that have been saved, and you're continuing to walk with the moms. And I think that's exactly what it's going to take to change the culture in our nation, to truly begin to value the life of the unborn, to see that the pro-life movement is willing to walk with women through all of those stages. And so I just love what you guys are doing to help fill that need and save those lives. Yeah. Emily, if people want to learn more about Let Them Live, where can they find that information? How can we follow what you guys are doing?
Yes, we are everywhere. So letthemlive.org is our website. We are also on all the social media. So Instagram, Facebook, X, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. We have some amazing videos up on YouTube of documentaries of moms sharing their stories and, sharing just what their journey was like. So you can find us everywhere. Type into Google, whatever, but we're there and we're available. And Nathan and I are always around to be answering questions. I mean, we may very well be the most accessible, nonprofit leaders in the movement. I mean, we're here to answer questions. We're here to, share and just keep growing this because we've seen what we can do. So
yeah, you get to see the impact. Any closing thoughts? Anything you want people to know?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys, and I just want everyone to know that there is something that you can do if you're pro-life and kind of struggling. God blesses us each with our own unique set of gifts, and what myself and Nathan are doing is not necessarily what everyone else may do, and what everyone else may do is not what Nathan and I can do, but everyone has their gifts. So whether that's the gift of being able to give time, some people are super busy, doctors and lawyers, and they're super pro-life and they can just give money, and that's necessary too. I mean, money is saving lives. So whatever it is, we always welcome that. I mean, we'll always find a place for people at Let Them Live. We have a lot of amazing staff and volunteers, and we're always in need of that. So just encouragement to just kind of figure out what it is that you're supposed to do and the part you're supposed to play, and it'll make a difference.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, Emily. For everybody watching or listening, go check out Let Them Live. Follow them on social media. It's really uplifting to see all the stories that come through and pictures of the baby and stories of women. So go check them out. It's a great follow. Get involved if you want to do that. Volunteer with them. There's lots of ways to help save lives. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for listening to Dear Jane. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got a new episode every week. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Don't forget to tell your friends about us either. Our producer is Kate Ewell. Our editor is Jacob McCormick. For Marcy Little, I'm Scott Baker. Thanks for listening to Dear Jane.